Hi, everyone. My name is Krishna. I'm the founder and CEO of Simplilearn and happy to be part of this podcast.
Krishna, give me a little bit of your background. I was recently listening to a podcast you did for Simplilearn, and your background is pretty amazing. And I'd like my listeners to understand a big picture perspective of where you started from.
So, where do you want me to start, Akshay?
Uh, you know,
Like the Simplilearn journey. My background,
not simply
I
your personal journey. I'm
yeah,
like
sure.
where you
So,
started from
I
as a
grew,
child. Mm.
got it. So I was born in a village. It is near, it is part of Bihar, eastern state in India. And that's where I did my schooling till about fifth grade. We had a primary school in the village, and that's where I did my till fifth grade. And after that, I moved to Patna for middle school onwards. So when I was in the village, I remember for the first many years, at least till maybe I was till 9 year old or so. There was no electricity in the village. There was no road. So once I went to a nearby village, one of our relatives' place for some marriage, and that's when I saw electricity for the first time. And I saw, okay, what is this? Very very fascinated to see that this is like making night also look like day. But of course, eventually things changed, and there was a village. There was electricity in the village. There was road in the village. In fact, during COVID time, my brother who works for JP Morgan, he's a techie, and he did entire his COVID time from our same village where there was nothing, and he could work 24/7 because there is electricity, there is internet, everything has become available. So of course, we have made a lot of great progress over the years in the country, even in the remotest part of India, and Bihar is definitely one of the less developed part of the country. That's a great
Your
progress.
parents were farmers, or what was?
My grandfather was a farmer, and my father eventually he retired as a professor from Magad University, Bihar. But when I was born, that time he was still on probation, doing some kind of teaching in degree college, but as a part-time employee. He was still not a full-time government employee to afford us to stay outside with his own income, right? So we used to stay with our grandparents in the village, and my father
So
used to be with college.
education is your family business in a way. Very
Yeah, my
interesting.
father was like obviously he's a PhD, so he had some influence. But I think even bigger influence on me was my grandfather. My grandfather was not that educated, but he was a very respectable person, and he always pushed me to not get involved in a lot of village related issues that many of my cousins get involved. That okay, whose land, who gets what part, and see in a typical big village family, there's always some kind of land dispute going on because
Yes.
somebody had one brother, two brother, and somebody has only daughters, no brother. So it's a very very complex thing. So people will get involved, they take side, and there's always smaller things to worry about. But my grandfather was very very clear that okay, don't get into this. Just focus on studies and make something out of your life. So that has a very good influence on me. And then my mother also pushed my father as soon as he could get a little bit economically well off in terms of started getting salary to move to a better place where you can get good schooling. So that's where we moved to Patna, and that's where I did my middle school and high school. And of course, Patna is a great place for education. It's very very competitive. Anywhere you go, people are preparing for IITs, IIM, IAS. All those are like part of every discussion in any typical Bihar household. So that had a great influence. I eventually did my schooling from Loyola School, Patna. At that time, Loyola was one of the top schools in Patna. So that had obviously had a very, very competitive environment, and that helped me become even more competitive and become better at whatever I was doing. Also ignited my interest in trying to like pursue higher stuff. So after that Loyola school schooling, I went to Patna Science College, again a very very iconic school in Bihar, the number one place where people do 10+2 education. A lot of people go to IITs. A lot of you will see those IAS officers in India will have if they are from Bihar, there is very high chance that they are from Patna Science College where they have done their 10+2 studies. So all those are great institutions. So after my 12th grade in Patna, I had two options to pursue. I was personally not very interested in doing engineering because I knew that I was always a much much interested in also social studies, and history were my favorite subject during the school. Of course, I was good in maths because obviously, if you want to like score, if you want to be a top scorer in a school, you can't afford not to have 100 out of 100 in maths, because that's like the one subject where you can actually score full. Sanskrit was another subject in Bihar board where you can score 100 out of 100. And if you want to be the topper of your class, there is no way you can be bad in these two subjects, because there is no chance. If you do 99 in these two subjects, you're already gone. You're so competitive, right? Even during those times. So I was good in maths. I was good in pretty much good in all the subjects, but my personal liking was always history and civics. So I wanted to go to Delhi and go do my graduation there, prepare for IAS, and get into that like route. But my father said that okay, that's a very risky proposition. I know you're a good student, but I still want you to pursue engineering, and after that you can always do anything. If you don't end up doing engineering, you at least have some backup option. So that's when I started preparing for engineering, and eventually when I wrote my all the entrance exams, I had two options. So I got my JEE rank was 2466. In that rank, I got only applied geology at IIT Kharagpur. That's the only branch that I offered, because that time you have to write all your options, and then the letter will come afterwards on what branch you got. So I got applied geology in IIT Kharagpur MSc program. And then from my state entrance, I had all the options. So finally, I selected for NIT Surathkal Electronics and Communication over IIT Kharagpur Applied Geology, and that's where I went to NIT Surathkal. When I went to NIT Surathkal, that was a great experience again. A very different place. I had not gone out of Bihar throughout my schooling. So going to NIT Surathkal, meeting people from all different kinds of state was again a very, very fascinating experience. The only language that I knew at that time was Hindi and Bhojpuri. So when I went to NIT Surathkal, I saw kids talking like very fluent English. That was itself was so fascinating to see that okay, these guys are so smart, they're speaking so well and so on and whatnot. And obviously we got like intimidated and also got inspired at the same time. But eventually Surathkal was I'll say one of the best places of my life. Made a lot of friends, had a lot of good time doing a lot of things that I had never done in school. And the trigger for that was that when I was going to college, my dad told me that okay, see, if you go to engineering college and you complete your engineering with 90% marks, or you complete your engineering with 70% marks, you still end up becoming engineer. So don't stress yourself too much. Try to
Amazing.
explore the all aspect of your engineering college, and eventually, if you have to do something else, you can again start at that point of time. So that took off a lot of pressure for me to like top the class, because that makes you very, very narrow focus. Anywhere you go, I think there are always very competitive people, and if you want to get into that race, there is no end to it, right? There is always you're always competing against time. So because I didn't had any pressure to like do well in my regular academic, I had a great time in IIT Surathkal. It is I may be the only college in India that's right on the beach. So people used to like go to school,
Wow.
attend classes once in a while, take a beer, sit on the beach whole night. Many times we usually just sleep on the beach and come back only next day morning and so on. So it was a great time. And since I was a good student, and electronics and communication engineering somehow was not a very difficult subject to study, if I have to say. And in particular, in IIT Surathkal the electronics and communication branch at that point of time was also a very lenient department. They're not very strict like some of the other departments. They were very, very strict in terms of laboratory work and whatnot. So the whole year passed really, really very well. And when I was in final year, I got a shocker, because when the placement season started, most of the companies who were like really good ones, they kept 75% as a like cutoff marks to sit in campus, and mine was like dot 71, 72. So I was not eligible for most of the interviews. Though I was the placement coordinator, most of the companies invite to getting them was everything was being done by me, because I was the like part of that body that does all the coordination. So that was a big shocker for me, that for throughout my life, I never got happy even after getting 90%, because I always used to get 95, 96, 97. And here I was struggling to not even qualify because I don't have 75% marks. That was a very, very, I'll say, demotivating for me. Then finally, somehow something happened to me. And finally, I said that, okay, am I really not capable of getting higher marks? So surprisingly, in my final semester, I started really focusing on my engineering academy, and I ended up getting 85 and 87, which was like again one of the highest marks in my class. So that gave me the confidence back that okay, just that I was not focusing, I was not getting. Now that I'm focusing, I'm getting it again. So that was a good part. And then this whole interest of becoming an IAS officer again struck at the final year of engineering. So I thought that how to go about doing this, because in NIT Suratkan there was no such environment. Nobody used to prepare for those exams at that point of time. I think the popular career option was that either you join a company where you get a job, and most people used to get job. Right? At least in electronics and computer, it was how soon you get a job was more of a question than whether you will get job or not. So people will get into those jobs and settle there, or a lot of them will write GRE and go abroad for their higher studies. So that was the model. Government exam was not even remotest of anyone's agenda. So I thought that the better place will be to go to maybe IIT Delhi or IIT Kanpur, because there a lot of people prepare for this exam. So that's where I wrote GATE and then got into IIT Kanpur, took microelectronics as a subject to MTech. I also did and eventually through campus, I got into Infosys. So I did a cost benefit analysis. Infosys salary at that point of time was about 14,000 some change per month. And if you do an MTech from IIT, you used to get 9,500 as a monthly stipend. So I thought it's not a bad deal. If you have to stay in 14,000 in a rented place in Bangalore versus 9,500 with a free hostel in IIT, is better to do MTech, and you can also pursue your IAS preparation also. So I think it's a no-brainer. Just go to Kanpur. But when I went to Kanpur, within a week, I realized that I'm a misfit here. One, it was MTech. MTechs in this engineering colleges in India are not treated in the same manner as BTech. You are like a second-class citizen in engineering college. That you can very clearly feel that vibe. You can feel that. So that part was something that I was not liking it. And second, this microelectronics, I thought I would like it as a subject. But as I sat in some of the classes, it appeared way too boring for me. Then I said, what is that I'm doing? I'm trying to prepare for an IAS, sitting here in microelectronics class, not liking this whole second class citizen kind of experience. So I decided to drop off. And that's where I moved out of IIT Kanpur one fine day and went back to Patna. When I went back to home, like my dad was like very, very supportive. He said that, okay, do whatever you want to do, whatever you think is a good thing for you, but there was no pressure. My younger brother at that point of time was preparing for JEE. So he was kind of very furious that, okay, why would you leave an IIT seat and so many people prepare for it? But next night I decided that, okay, I don't want to go that path. So I stayed in Patna for a couple of weeks. Then I went to Bangalore, joined Infosys because my Infosys joining letter was still valid. So I went back and joined Infosys, stayed in Infosys for a few months, started liking it because all your friends were there. You can hang out to different pubs in Bangalore. It was a very good time. But what I noticed that within 6 months of people joining different companies, everybody got very serious about their career, knowingly or unknowingly. People are thinking about what next. So some were trying to go to a US as an on-site engagement. Some still trying for a GRE. Some trying to write CAT to MBA. So I realized that those friends no longer have time. Everybody has got into that race that, okay, this is not enough. I need to do more. And that's what I was thinking what to do. So, and Infosys that time had no work. In fact, that was a time, early 2000, late 99, early 2000, that all these companies used to operate at 55 to 60% utilization. That means almost 40% people used to just sit on bench with no work, waiting for a project to be assigned. So I was on bench for 6 months and it's kind of started biting me that what am I doing? So I spoke to my boss. He was a very friendly guy and told him that I'm not getting any work. I'm thinking of leaving. Give me some work. Otherwise, I'm getting really bored coming to office and doing nothing. Right? I'm going to gym. I'm going to eating free food, spending time reading economic times, trying to understand that. But frankly, it is too boring. He said that why don't you go to US? I said it's not a bad idea. I can go to US if you want to send me. So within a week, I was in US. That time for a B1 visa, you didn't have to go to embassy for in person. Some of these companies like Infosys had enough cloud that they will send the application and the visa used to come stamped in your hand. So I got the visa. Next week I was in US.
Which company as soon as were you employed at?
Infosys. Yes. So Infosys sent me to...
Not to a client? Like they didn't send you to
a Infosys sent me. Infosys sent me on B1. So when I went to B1, it was for a startup in Boston. In fact,
Okay.
Infosys also was incidentally an investor in that particular startup. And those startups are also run by three IIT Delhi graduates. Company used to be called ECQ. And they had some project that I was supposed to go and work there. I also surprised that I never worked on anything in Infosys. So I was myself questioning what is that I'm going to work there, because I don't know anything to go and work. I just attended Infosys training program and I was just floating as a resource, right? Doing nothing.
And
But still,
by this
first
time,
sending.
you had mastered English, because when you joined college,
Yeah,
you were
within
largely.
college itself, I think we had a lot of improvement, right? Because first year was a place where we had really struggled, but over the 3-4 years, I think not mastered, I'll say, but okay, manageable.
Mhm.
It was manageable by the time I was in final year and then went to Infosys. And then when I went to Infosys, there was a project opportunity for which I was supposed to go there. In fact, there are two other guys. So three of us were supposed to land in US, and all of us landed pretty much on a weekend there. I think Sunday evening we landed. And the first thing that when we went to that particular customer Monday morning, we realized that the project for which we were supposedly supposed to come, the project got cancelled. So we had nothing. So we went there again. There was no work. So it was even more torture to spend time in US doing nothing. But Infosys obviously had a lot of resources. Even in '99, also they are big. They are not small. They had about 7,000-8,000 employees. So they managed to create some other opportunity within the same company to do something that, according to me, was a complete useless time pass, just a way to bill. There was no value being created. We were just getting billed because we were at on-site and somebody had to pay the bill. And then within a month and a half, that company went bankrupt. That was the starting of .com bust. The company went bankrupt, and there was another opportunity to work on, but I spoke to my manager saying that I'm not liking it here. You just get me back to India. So that's how I came back to India. And then again, going back to Infosys was of no point, because there was nobody cared whether you were coming to office or not, because you're not working on a project. So I stopped going to Infosys. I said that, okay, what is the point? I'm not going to Infosys. And that's when I started figuring it out, that what are my school friends doing? Is someone doing anything different? I came across one of my friend. He was also in a similar boat, and he was trying to think that he was with IBM, and he's had pretty much similar experience, that going to IBM and doing nothing. He said, why don't we start our own business? And that's where we started our first business called Tech Unified. In our apartment, four of us, one of my friend from Patna Science College, classmate, who had gone to IIT Kanpur and working for IBM. And two of his IIT Kanpur classmates again had a similar kind of background. They were working with Wipro and had no real work in those companies. So four of us started this company called Tech Unified in our apartment, with the goal that we will do something meaningful, not just go to these companies and do nothing. So the first business came into being, and there we found a lot of challenges, but eventually what worked for us, that we were stuck together as a group. We did everything to survive. We became complemented each other in a strength, and eventually we ended up building a very successful SMS banking product that was used by the likes of Citibank, HSBC, ABN AMRO, and so on. It's very, very focused on Middle East as a market, Saudi Arabia in particular, and other GCC countries. And that business did pretty decent. We didn't raise any external funding, but it was very profitable.
How did a bunch of 20-year-olds acquire banks as customers? I mean, just
So that was the way it happened was that we were. So we were like, when we started, idea was to do some training, some consulting, some project, and something of that nature to survive. And we did a lot of it. Like, see, once you are in market, some things happen. Like, for example, our first, I'll say, decent or significant customer was actually Prashant Prakash. He runs Excel Ventures, right? So he used to run a IT services company called Netcraft during those days. So we used to do a lot of work for him, like some project work for him, some training work for him, some kind of IT services work for Netcraft in turn billing their end customers. So we just it's not that we knew him, just being in the market, cold calling, meeting one person, another person led him to him as an example. And Prashant still continues to be somebody that we respect a lot, because we learned a lot from him. He was the first such customer that we have. Similarly, one of my like IIT Kanpur senior, 1 year senior to my co-founders, he used to do some work for Shobha Group, the Shobha developers. And they had an IT business called Shobha Renaissance Information Technology. So he was doing some consulting of Shobha Renaissance. we got in touch with Sova, started doing some work for Sova. And that's how we got connected with Middle East as a market, because Sova has very strong business in Middle East. So when we got connected with Middle East as a market, there was an opportunity that we got to do some work in Saudi Arabia. Now, if you look at in 2003 time frame, started in 2001, by this opportunity of Saudi came to us in 2003. Not people don't want to go to Saudi Arabia. It was supposed to be a closed country, strict laws and whatnot. There was a very negative image about Saudi at that point of time, right? So, but we went to Saudi to explore what's happening there. And when we went there, we realized that banks in Saudi were rich, very, very tech savvy, because they had ability to spend that kind of money. And that's how we started working on some banking services project for one of the large banks in Saudi. And there we identified this opportunity. They are looking for a solution like this, that anybody goes to the ATM and withdraws money, there should be an alert. Anybody wants to send an SMS message to inquire about what's happening in their banking account, they could get some alert and so on. So when we started working, we realized that there's no such ready-made product that exists. So while we worked on that particular customer, we understood, took the concept there and ended up building a product. And then somehow we got an opportunity to deploy that in Citibank in Saudi Arabia. And that was a very, very successful implementation. And Citi is a technology leader. When they implement, other banks follow. So when Citi implemented, we started getting other banks. And that's how the business grew, because we were in the market in Saudi, and these customers are looking for a solution like that. So it was just being in the right place, building a product that was required. And it worked really very well. In fact, I remember 2004 was when we first time launched two-factor authentication in Saudi Arabia. That has now become a standard. If you remember, in 2005, 6, even I don't remember till 2013, 14, two-factor authentication in India was a default standard. Only after 15, 16 onwards, I saw that it became a standard. We had implemented that in 2004, way back in Saudi, for some of the banking transactions that we wanted to enable, right? So we were at the right place, right time, trying to build this product. And product also was built really, really very well. One of our co-founders in the previous company, he was one of the gold medalists from IIT Kanpur, very, very strong techie. So obviously we're a small group, but one guy was very strong, and then around him he built a strong technology team. So that product did very well. I still remember I was sitting with the IT head of Citibank in Saudi Arabia. In Saudi Arabia, they used to be called at that point of time Samba, Saudi American Bank. There always this concept that like HSBC used to be called Saudi British Bank. So sitting with the Saudi American Bank IT chief, and a regular visit, and their payment of service, their service payment was also due. And he was joking with me, saying that, okay, here is your annual AMC check. I'm feeling sad and happy at the same time giving this check to you. I'm sad that I'm paying this money for nothing, because I didn't call you guys even once for the entire year, and I'm paying you just this money for nothing. I'm happy at the same time that there was absolutely no problem in the product for the entire year, that there was a need for you guys to visit, and there was a need for me to call. So product was so stable and was so well working.
Wow.
So after staying in Saudi, this was
at
in
that time there was no SaaS, right?
5. There was no SaaS.
Okay.
There was no SaaS.
So this was like a
on-premise deployment.
On-premise deployment.
It was an on-premise license that we had done, and that product, the product was like, I'll say, a gateway through which we had integrated core banking, internet banking, ATM system, and it will just see the transaction and relay the transaction. So that was the product that relay the transaction and also receive any input and relay it back. So it was just it was a gateway. That used to sit between the end user device of the user and all the different enterprise applications that the bank had. So very good time.
And that you were doing sales, or what were you doing?
So my role was operations. So deploying project, hiring, training, make sure that all the projects are getting deployed at the right time. We were 4 co-founders. So sales was done by my other guy, technology was done by somebody else.
Okay. Understood.
So in 2000, so this was like 2005, 2006 timeframe, and that's where we started thinking about what more. And we also were like, we all got married, and staying in Saudi Arabia, nobody was very keen to stay in Saudi Arabia. It's not a very great place to live family-wise. So we thought that, okay, enough of Saudi, let's figure out what else we want to do. And that's where we started thinking about this model, that can we exit this company by selling it to someone else? So we engaged a banker. We identified a banker from our friend circle, and gave him the mandate that I find a buyer, and that's where ORG Informatics Limited, the listed company in India, they were looking for acquire some kind of a product IP. They had a large services business, but no real IP, so they acquired us, and that transition happened in February 2007. I think February 2007 was a great time to sell anything because market was again very
Pre-Lehman.
bullish, and really it was pretty good time to sell anything. So we sell in 2007, and
how much did you sell it for?
So that time we sold. So it was a small business. We sold it for 49 crore. But that time, and there were no investors, 4 of us. So I think it was decent money for us at that point of time.
Yes, it would have been more than what you would have earned in a job throughout your entire career.
Each one of us made 12 crore, right? So that time, I think dollar to rupee was maybe 42, 43, 45, right? So each one of us had made roughly about $3.5-4 million. So it was a pretty good money.
Amazing.
And all of us were still 28 or 29-year-old. So pretty good place. Yeah. And then I worked at ORG for about a year and was trying to figure it out what to do next. And that's where I started Simplilearn as a blog. So my goal that time was to learn internet because Tech85 was a pure play enterprise play, right? We had a solution for banking. We had done some work for telco also, but mostly banking. And Simplilearn was to learn blog. I also always used to love writing. So you can, on your blog, you can write anything, you can talk anything and learn internet optimization at the same time. So it started as a blog and ran as a blog for about close to almost, I'll say 1.5 years. And through my writing, I used to write a lot of project management, quality training, and so on. So it started resonating with the followers. So with that, I said that, okay, why not put some training material on project management, because some of the users only suggested that we write so much on project management. Why don't you help us prepare for PMP exam? And that's where I put some content related to PMP, and it resonated very well. And I started offering doubt clarification session on top of my PMP. Again, everything was happening as a hobby while I was trying to still figure it out. What should I do next? And after some time, I think somehow somebody gave me an idea that why don't you put a donate button on your website so that you can create more such content around other programs, and it can become a very good social mission. Other option was that put a PayPal button and start collecting payment for the offerings that you are giving it for free. So one Saturday evening, I put a PayPal button, and then next day morning, I got 7 payments. Out of that, I think 2 payments were from Middle East and 5 payment was from US. So I realized that, okay, it's a great business. I can maybe just double click on this concept, add more courses, add more offerings, and become a viable business. So that was the starting of.
You were selling study material.
So video content, study material, and doubt clarification session. So that doubt clarification session means like you can. So that time I used to use a platform called DimDim. DimDim was like a Zoom kind of platform those days, free online platform on which you can schedule. Used to work very well. I never had any challenge with like whole class connecting the class on dimdim.com. I don't know what happened to that company, but the product was pretty good.
Okay.
So that was the place, and then within a year that business was doing very well. Even in 2011, I used to do a monthly business of $100,000. My total cost, everything put together, was not even $20,000 because I by the time I'd had a couple of support staff, so it was making $80,000 monthly profit. I'm very excited that it's a great business. Like, why should I do anything? Too much money that I can ever use. So one of my previous co-founder, he became an investment banker after exiting of Simplilearn. He teamed up with the same guy who sold Tech85 to ORG. They partnered together to say that, okay, let's build the business together for future. He's also doing extremely well. So he suggested that this business become $80,000 monthly profit. And you spend only 2 years writing, blogging and whatnot. What if somebody has a lot of money and they build those faster than you and displace you from your own business? So before anybody else does it, why don't you only raise money and build inventory barriers and scale the business and so on? So that was a convincing argument. That's where we started talking to venture funds to see something can be done. And in the process, spoke to Vani Kalari and a couple of other venture funds also. I liked Vani interaction and the whole experience of dealing with her, and signed up with her to raise our Series A in 2012. And after that, it's like became a lot of new experiments to run the business. Some worked, some didn't work. From a profit-making company, it became a loss-making company. So we raised more money from Helion in 2013, then again more money from Bayfield.
what was your pitch to Vani? That you
My
were...
pitch was that, see, right now, sitting in Bangalore, we are running, training people all across the globe. So there is something that we are doing, and it's sustainable. It's not that I'm training 5-10 people. I'm training like hundreds of them every month. So there is a market, and we have a model to train those people remotely. So that's what is resonated with Vani. He said, "Yeah, there is something there. It's another kind of services business or a product business that we can think of."
And you essentially were looking at self-based learning, not like a cohort-based learning.
No, we had doubt clarification sessions, right? That you buy the self, and then we will conduct sessions where people can ask any question. Of course, that got evolved into cohort-based training very soon. Like within a year or so, we started doing classes which are all completely taught live. We also ventured into offline. That's why we started losing money also. So what we decided was that why to do only training online? There are people, most of the classes we used to do on weekends. Why don't get people in a hotel room on weekend and do this training live? In fact, in 2014, we used to run only on project management, PMP certification training every month in US, almost 50 unique classes every month in US, 50 physical classes in US in 50 different cities. So imagine if you have to identify top 50 cities in US, you pretty much covered every big city that you can think of in name or not even have thought of on name, right? And with not even a single employee in US. So entire business was run from Bangalore, not even a single employee. Trainers will send trainers to those respective places. Somebody in Bangalore will coordinate and send those trainers. We'll send study material. It was like, we'll upload our study material on some platforms. Those platforms will print and do overnight shipping to those locations. We tie up with Marriott to build the classroom as per our requirement, or just to design the classroom. And we had a corporate arrangement with them through which we used to pay. So not even a single employee. So when we raised Series A, Series B, Series very quickly, 12.
The business was largely US focused, like your revenue?
Yes, the business was largely US focused till about, I'll say 13, 14, 15, in fact 16 out. But it was mostly US focused.
And largely PMP, project management, professional.
PMP, Scrum, Six Sigma, ITIL, cybersecurity. So mostly certification related program. There was no data, clouds, and programming. Those kind of things were not popular till about that time.
And so how were you acquiring users?
All internet. So internet marketing, email,
like organic or
promotions. Paid? Yeah, so organic and paid both. Organic, paid, email, list building. So multiple kinds of things.
What was working for you, like in terms of user acquisition?
I think for us that time, email marketing was the one that worked for us a lot. So what we'll do, we'll build a list of people who might be interested and just email them, ask for references, and leading from one person to another and so on.
Okay. And the sales was like a human-led sales? Or?
Yeah, human-led. We always have human-led sales.
Okay.
People will inquire, then somebody will clarify and provide them all clarifications.
And what was the average course price? Like?
So in US, our average PMP sales price used to be about $1,500 to $1,700 per course.
Okay.
For the physical class. So what had also happened that over time started offering 3 different models. You can only take self-paced in $200 as an example. Live virtual in about $1,000 and physical live in $1,700. So it became 3 different price points. Now, we started getting some kind of discomfort in our own head sometime in 2015 that let's say a prospective learner comes to our sales guy asking for that I'm looking for a PMP training or a Scrum training or any training for that matter. What should that person sell? The person should sell like self-paced video content or live virtual or live in person. Ideally, you should sell what suits for that particular learner profile, right? Probing the learner on what kind of learner he is, what is his budget, is he self-disciplined or not? And based on that, we should have suggested one of the 3 options, right? That's a long-term thinking on the business side. But our sales guys will always sell the $1,700 business because that's the highest AST, right? That's the highest.
And the commission would be
higher. Right? So, and by saying that, okay, this product is $1,700, live virtual is $900 and self-paced is $200, we're in a way also signaling the quality that maybe the physical is the best quality, followed by the middle one, followed by this one. We are not very comfortable with that thought in our mind. So in 2015, we decided to make a bold call that we'll only do live virtual. So come in an interactive cohorts, we'll not do any other model. so we exited the physical classroom business completely, and that was 75% of our business. So that time our revenue was roughly about 100 crore odd. 75 crore was physical classroom led,
Wow.
and 25 was completely online. So we let go 75 crore business and refunded all the learners who were not attending the classes and so on, and started building the business again from 2016 onwards. From 25 crore to again we built it till so 2021 when we exited all our investors. The business in 2016 grew from 25 crore to roughly about 300 crore in 2021 when we sold to so exited all the investors. So what because we were also very very focused, always took bold bets and focus on what is the right thing to do, and think of thought of always disrupting ourselves rather than somebody else coming and disrupting our business.
Though this model of hybrid, this was like the hybrid model, right? The in person,
Yeah.
there would be classes and then maybe some study material and videos additionally online. This was a completely accepted model till COVID hit, right? And the fact that it costs more was also something which in intuitive understanding is there, that you are paying for location costs, etc. That's why it's costing more, not because of quality. Why let go of 75% of your revenue?
So actually, for us, what do I stand for is very important. That we stand for what? Like we are standing and in what direction we optimize our product. Like for example, if you want to build a physical classroom delivery business, then optimizing for logistics is what your product direction will move. That how do I get my material to the best place in the best time? Where do I find my location where we can get more number of students? Whereas if I'm optimizing for an online cohort-based delivery, then my whole product experience will focus on how do I increase engagement in my class? How do I know which learners are engaged, which learners are not engaged? So pedagogy has a big impact on what all the different underlying things that you do. We're not a marketplace. So we're not just listing that, okay, these are classroom training provider, these are online training provider, these are video learning provider, and it's so up to them that how they manage class experience. I'm only helping them in discovering the option. We are always a full stack provider. So for us, sticking to the pedagogy was very important. That what is the best way to engage learners and how do I provide them the best experience? And hence my product starts optimizing on that. Like for example, let's say tomorrow Coursera wants to go into live. It's easier said than done. So they have optimized their business for video delivery and video learning, right? If they want to do live, it will require a different thought process in them. It's not so easy for companies to suddenly say, okay, I'll do this model also and do that model also. So we take a call that we want to become a tech platform, online delivery, online fulfillment, but giving them a classroom-like experience or maybe better. So that's what we decided to let go of that.
Tell me the product journey. What was your product?
So our product was that, so we always optimize for outcome. So people, when they're coming to us for PMP, why are they coming? They want to pass the exam. For them, the outcome was that I want to write this PMP certification exam. Can this training help me pass in the first attempt? So we always kept that as a goal, that people are coming to us for what? So passing a certification exam is a goal, getting a new job is a goal, getting a promotion is a goal. So we always optimize that. And how do we make that happen for the learner? How can we enable them? So that has always been our thought process in anything that we do on our platform.
But how, like the technology product part of it, like it was a blog first and then it was blog plus dim for doubt sessions. How did that, the technology product of it evolve?
So actually, in my view, say technology is just enabling us to provide the outcome. For me, the real product is giving them their desired outcome, right? And technology platform evolves. So we have, like, if you look at from the product side, there is a very clear, what we call it, the content management system, the website through which you discover different options. You can browse for different options through which we are constantly like communicating our value proposition to the learner. So that's a very, very important component of our product. And that's where we do all kinds of organic optimization so that we always appear on search result and so on. So that's one big part of our product. And then
that's
the other
for
part,
the lead generation.
Generation and just showing that we exist, right? And then the other big part of our product is the platform on which the actual learning happens. Learner come to the class. How do they see the different courses that appear? Where do they see quiz? Where do they get into actual hands-on labs so that they can do practice? Where can they do assessment? How does your certificate look like? So actual real learning experience. That's a big part of our product. And the third big part of the product is the backend. That how do our internal teams use which learners are at what stage of learning, who is falling behind, who is ahead of the class, and so on. So entire management of the class. So these are the three big components. And then, like a couple of years back, we launched this Skill Up as a product. So in Skill Up, what we said that see cohort classes are costly. So if you want to come to our cohort, since I have instructor cost, I have a teaching assistant cost, I have lab cost. So our courses are priced at a certain price point. Now, not everybody can afford that price point, but we have a lot of curriculum that we have built over a period of time, and we continue to build. So decided that is there a way in which we can give our curriculum to learners who can't afford our paid courses for free. So we created this Skill Up offering, and that's the big product at our end. Wherein if you can learn from a Simplilearn curriculum on your own, it's absolutely free. And that's again a very massively popular product from Simplilearn. The current metrics is that we onboard about 150,000 learners on that platform every month, 30,000 to complete the program every month. So on any given day on LinkedIn, if you just go and search for Simplilearn Skiller, you will see on an average 300 people tagging Simplilearn every day, saying that thank you, Simplilearn. I did the business analytics Excel course, I did Power BI course, or I did that course and whatnot every day. So that's the impact that we're creating. That if you can't afford us, start with our free offering. At some point in time, if you want a paid offering which is stamped by a university or industry, you can migrate to our paid platform. So that itself has become a big product called Skill Up.
How do you make your paid offering more compelling then? Because see, in the early days, what you were offering is today something which you're offering free, right? Your course of 2012 would be something that is free for learners today. So how do you make the paid course compelling? How do you?
So paid is a cohort model, so you get to complete. You get you are. So there are multiple differences. See, one is that our free offering is like giving somebody a book. And here is a book. Just take this book and read on your own, right? And paid offering is that you are coming to a class which is taught by a professor which is already vetted, and you also get a certificate which is much more valuable because our paid certificates are always endorsed by a university or an industry player. Our free certificate that you get by reading on your own is a Simplilearn Skill Up certificate. So right analogy is that here I'm giving you a book, here I'm teaching you the book through an instructor.
Okay. And these university tie-ups, how did you crack those university tie-ups? Like, what is in it for a university?
At some point in time when the Edtech platform started, universities were not willing to talk because they always looked at us as a second-class citizen. That okay, you guys are like doing something that is not good, they are not accredited and whatnot. But at some point in time, universities also realized that not everybody can afford nor have time to go for a 1 year, 2 year, 3 year, 5 year course. So they need to have some play there. So I think the technology companies traveled some distance in talking to university. They also traveled some distance. And somewhere we met in between where we said that instead of like competing, we can actually collaborate and do something that is good for the end user. So that's how it's now. I think now pretty much every university has some kind of online play. Either they are doing on their own or they're doing with one such company like Simply.
Okay.
By offering all kinds of short courses in various different models. Sometimes they just do only lend their brand. Sometimes they actually teach. Sometimes they build curriculum. Sometimes they do assessment. So all kinds of model exist.
Okay. And the partners that you are with, you have all types of interactions? Or
I have global partners like Wharton, MIT, Caltech, Purdue in US. India, I work with IIT Kanpur, IIT Roorkee, IIT Madras. With IIM Indore. And so a lot of IITs IIM in India and a lot of universities in US.
In a cohort-based learning system, there is always a problem that all learners are not the same.
Yes.
And it could be in terms of skill, it could be in terms of motivation levels. So how do you solve for that? I mean, that's the fundamental problem with college also, like when you're in college.
So I think this is a problem that we can talk about it and people can say that, okay, there's a lot of adaptive learning technology platform and whatnot. But reality, this is a problem. But there's no better solution also. See, one is that you can give adaptive learning wherein there are content, do something on your own. Like you start learning on a system and you let's say you start on a certain topic and you start with somewhere, and then after some time the platform asks you certain questions, and based on how much of the questions you answered right versus wrong, it will take you on a different path. If you're answering everything right, then the next incremental topic will come up. If you're answering that right, the next incremental topic will come up. But not answering it right, then it will again go back to the basics and start teaching you. But there are like again self-learning system. The biggest challenge
Yes.
that people face is that they want somebody to guide them through the journey. So in our cohort, we try our best to do it, and the way the courses are designed, that it does a self-selection. Like for example, let me give you example of data as an example. Data is getting very popular, right? So if you are a early, not very advanced user, you want to make some career in data, you select our data analytics course. That doesn't require a lot of depth, doesn't require a lot of programming. It's easy for anybody to understand to start with a data analytics. You're a little advanced, you just go for a data science course, which is expects you to know certain concepts already, and then you are looking for a next level of course. So the way courses are designed, that it attracts a certain kind of audience. There's also a related to business analytics, that you don't want to learn data for the sake of data. You are a sales guy, you are a marketing guy, just want to see how to analyze my business using data. So for you, there's a business analytics course, and that's where our this inside sales counselors that they have, they understand who you are, and based on that, they recommend a course. Based on your profile, this is a better course or that is a better course. So they're trying to do, but is it 100% accurate? No, it's not 100% accurate. That's a disadvantage of running a public cohort, that you can have all kinds of audience. Now that's where the role of instructor and teaching assistant come into play. They try to see how can they maybe group these users into some of the, so within the cohort also we have study groups, right? Within that we have different groups. So how can they group and still make them follow if they want to follow?
What is the teaching assistants?
One of the, so teaching assistants are the ones who are all along with the, so instructor is the main instructor teaching the concept, explaining and whatnot. Teaching assistant help the students who are falling behind, not able to complete the assignment. They want some one-on-one help. Other than the live class scheduled time, they want some separate help to do some project and so on.
Okay. So like doubt clarifications, etc. What
doubt clarification, constant being on the job, saying that okay, you're falling behind. Here is what I can help you with that and guide you to complete, so that next class you come prepared. See, our goal is that if a learner wants to learn, he would have no reason of saying that okay, I'm not getting the required support from Simplilearn. That's our internal goal. That if the learner is saying that okay, I'm not able to follow because instructor is not helping me or not getting the required support from outside, at least that should not happen. Is the goal for our delivery team, that anybody wants to learn, we need to provide every kind of support to make sure that the learner learn. But if somebody doesn't want to learn, it's a very difficult problem to solve. I don't think anybody can solve it. We can try motivating them, showing them the case studies of other people who have done the course and become successful. But beyond a point, that is a very difficult problem to solve.
Okay. You took revenue from 25 crores to, you said about 300-400 crores in about, I think, 5 years, which is like a 8x growth or even more than, in fact, this is like about an 8x growth. So what were the ways in which you made that happen? Like, you would have needed to build sales, you would have needed to make the course more appealing, you would have needed to build marketing. Just tell me about that.
So what we did, actually, the first thing that we took our team into confidence, that the team that was there, that okay, while we are crashing the business, we still have a chance to become a successful business. So the team bought this idea that we are crashing the business for the right reason. So they also had faith in the decision. And once people are aligned, then see, business gets built if everybody is working with a goal that we can build it, right? So we did everything. We added more programs. We added more variety of the programs, the same program in different kinds of model. We also didn't had any external capital at that point of time. We started figuring it out. Free growth levers. So we started optimizing a lot on organic search. Started focusing a lot on repeat and referral. So combination of everything, like innovation on organic search that we did on the marketing side, repeat and referral again on the marketing side.
Organic search would be like putting content out there on different
putting everything. If you look at today, Simplilearn in our domain, I think Udemy has the highest traffic, followed by Coursera, followed by Simplilearn. We're the third most visited edtech platform globally because of the organic search. Because we have so much of content, so much of curriculum, and over the years we have optimized. It's not like one day affair, and we continue to focus on SEO.
Like if someone is searching for project management or something within project management.
Anything that we offer will always appear. Right. The question is whether it will appear the first search result or third search result. But it will always be there on the first place for sure. And plus the skill of offering even further help, because we are offering so much of free courses that you see us everywhere. Right?
Yeah. People put it as a badge on LinkedIn. So again, more
Yeah.
visible.
So like 300 people tag every day, right? So
Mm,
then it's a good
mm.
volume.
Right. Okay. And I saw your YouTube channel also has like some 3.5 million followers.
Yeah.
How did you build that?
So that also organically over a period of time, you continue to put a lot of free content on the YouTube. So it's part
Okay.
of again the organic strategy that you keep on talking about topic concept, and that's
Mm,
how you build a footprint, right?
mm, mm. Eh, Do you also need to work towards providing placements like jobs? A lot of people come for jobs, right?
We do some, but again, see, we can't become a full-fledged placement company. But yes, we have a pretty strong placement angle wherein help learners connect with opportunities.
How do you do that? Like you
So
approach
one
corporates
is a
for
lot of
hiring.
companies ourselves contact us and then you are training so many people I'm looking to hire. Can you connect? So that's one channel. We also do an outreach of about when we hear about hiring event happening across companies. We help our learners build their resume. So we provide tools for them so that they can represent their resume in the right manner. We conduct some sessions on how to crack interviews and so on. So that are part of some of our courses. Some of our offerings have more stronger placement angle. Some of them has very little. For example, courses that are offered for senior professional, anybody who's like 10-year plus. We don't offer any job assistant to those programs because those guys don't really need a job assistance from us. We offer job assistance kind of offering more on programs where most of the audience is less than 5 years of experience.
Mm. So your, you had a Series C of about $6 million. This was after you let
No,
go of.
seriously, we had it for $15 million. So we
Okay.
done 4 million. We had, our Series A was 3 million,
Yeah,
Series B
right.
was 10
Okay.
million, Series C was 15 million. Yeah.
15.
So
This was
after
2050.
Series C, we had done the let go of the business. Because
Okay.
that's where we had also had some money to afford to do that, right? Otherwise, we could not have survived if we didn't have money and we also crashed the business, right?
And from the Series C, next 6 years, you didn't raise any funds. It was
We
mostly
didn't
debt.
raise any. We couldn't raise. So when the business went down from 100 to 20 to 25 crore, we were not able to sell the story to investors saying that, okay, now the business is down and we can build the business again. Nobody believed that story. They thought that, okay, it's already gone case. They have degrown from 100 to 25 thing. So there's no future in this company. So
People
I
were
think that
writing
was
it off. Okay.
writing it off, right? But we were internally always bullish that, okay, we will stop because we were doing all the right thing, right?
But you felt doubt?
Like, for example, in the
You,
current market also, like you see, there are so many companies who raise so much of money, and most of the companies I find that you always believe that they are bogus companies, they're just making noise. You always, frankly, I used to always pity those investors. That are these guys blind? If something appears too good to be true, there is something fishy going here. So why are people not following the basics, like basic instinct that, okay, if things are so good to be true, it can only happen in Excel, that put a certain number and put some variable and say, okay, this is how the future is going to look like. With some mind, don't become like, don't follow everybody just because everybody else is saying that this is good, right? So we already saw that it happened in most of the companies. There's no future. There's no way that people can make money. And this is what we're telling to our investors and to our team also. That the way from 2016, we grew everybody with. Simply did one of the big. So if you look at our exit in 2021, it was the biggest exit for Kalari, biggest exit for Helion, biggest exit for Mayfield. For our employees, we had given them 10 rupees shares. We bought back those shares at 63,500 each. So everybody got 6,300, that's 6,350 times multiple of this stock value, right? Exactly same story we are telling to in our employees now also, that again we'll make an exit in next 2 to 3 years. And we'll make a bumper exit if we continue to do the same principle of doing the right thing. Right. For example, last financial year we closed 700 crore business, we lost money. If from 700 crore we move to 1200 crore and make 150 to 100 crore profit, we are a 15, 20,000 crore valued market if you go from IPO. So just focus on the right thing, do right thing for the customer, generate my money, and the return will follow. Don't get like what do we call carried away with the hype cycle. Right? A lot of people do hype. There are very few companies who always get lucky that they don't make money, but investors are happy, employees are happy, customers are happy. There's only one company that I can think of. There's only one company that has Flipkart. They don't make money still. Their valuation is going up and up. So investors are happy. Employees love working for Flipkart. No doubt about it. They are very well paid, very good quality of work. And as a customer also, we are loving it. They do a great job in terms of giving discount, offer, time of delivery. But When I look at Flipkart, I think of a company that what defies gravity.
Yeah.
Not making money, but everybody is happy. So that's a great place to be in. But how I don't know how to replicate that magic.
Right. Okay, amazing. Didn't you go through doubt and despair in those 6 years after 2015 when nobody was
No,
willing to fund you
no,
further? You had conviction that
never,
this will
never.
pay off.
See, we are doing the right thing, right? We always thought that we are doing the right thing. We're adding value to the customer. So why should we be in doubt?
I mean,
But yes,
you know,
it creates a lot of pressure. I'm sure a lot of our team members who left us thinking that, okay, this company has been there for ages and इनका कुछ नहीं हो सकता. Look at those companies making so much of noise. But I'm sure
yeah, I
in
mean,
the
you know,
hindsight,
like
they must be thinking that
upgrade
for
great
example,
learning.
there are companies in education. They said talked about edtech, and now they're only talking about offline center. What the hell are you talking? You raised all this hope saying that I'm going to be online education. Now we are just copying like offline center. That also poaching trainers from other established player and trying to say that this part of my business is growing. What the business? What kind of business is that?
Yeah,
There is no business. It's just a matter of time that the business will go, right? It's not easy to replicate core competency of another company just because you have money and you are paying somebody double, triple the salary, right?
Why did you decide in 21 to sell to private equity? You had a private equity by 60%.
No,
of
I had venture investors. So they had to get an exit, right?
Okay.
So look at the venture investors, they had cycle, right? So we were waiting for it. So over these years, we always had offers. We always used to get incoming offers saying that, okay, we want to buy this company and whatnot. But 21 was a great time to sell. So we ran the
Okay,
process and we got a lot of
edtech
offers.
hype was at the highest.
Yeah. I not say edtech, I would say the technology high. Fintech was also at high.
Yes,
was at high. Who was not at high? Everybody was at high, right?
Right. Amazing. Your timing is so amazing. In the sense, I mean, you know, even the time you sold the first business was also like just before Lehman. Amazing. And how has business changed now? Like after there's a 60% owner. Blackstone is a 60% owner of.
Yeah.
Simplilearn.
See, earlier also we had 60% shareholding by investors. It's just that the 60% was between three different investors. So
Okay.
Blackstone bought all the three investors, right? So that way they got 60%. Plus they have more than 60%. They have 65%. And they put additional money into the company also. That's how we have 65%. So now we have two investors, Blackstone, and we after a year we also added GSB as an investor because GSB also is a very reputed education investor, right? They are behind most of the education companies. So that's how we have two investors, and we're going to prepare for an IPO within 2-3 years. That's our goal. And for that, profitability is a must, sustainable business is a must. So we are again focused on same journey that we did from 16 to 21. Now from 24 to 26, we want to replicate that journey, grow profitably, become sustainable business, do what is right for the customers. And we are now a big global brand. And that's how I moved from Bangalore to Dallas because 65% of my business is in US today. So I want to be in the market where my business is, be more closer to the learners, partners, and see if any tweaking is required in the product and so on. A large part of my management is also now based out of US. If I look at my C-level executive, I think you have about 7-8 C-level executive. 5 of them are based out of US now. 3 of them are in India.
Okay. Were you profitable when Blackstone bought you in 21?
Yes.
Okay.
So we lost money in 23 and 20.
Yeah. Why did you reverse course? I mean, why did you?
So I think that was, see that in 21, if you look at the market was all time high and growth was getting way more premium than profitability. So I'll say that we also got carried away. Though it worked for us anyway. That's how if you look at after Blackstone came, we raised money from GSV at a higher valuation than Blackstone. Almost 50% premium over the last valuation within a year. Because we use that money to grow very rapidly. So growth was getting premium, but now suddenly the profitability has become a very big focus. And I think that's the right thing in my view. In hindsight, had we not changed our course, maybe we would have a much stronger business today in terms of strength than where we are. But good news is that we are still very well capitalized, and I think last month we were profitable, and we're looking forward to get to profitability henceforth.
Amazing. And you want to list in India or US?
India. You are an Indian company. You're an India headquartered company.
Okay. But
we don't have this challenge of we never did this fancy thing of having the business in India and listing in Singapore and all. I don't know why people are doing that time. This is all the stupidity of all this big four advising them to do so. Because it doesn't make sense. Your entire business is in India and you're listing in Singapore for what? So we are also given this kind of advice, crazy advice in the past, but we never fall for that advice.
Now there's a big tax implication if they want to come back and list in India.
Of course, there should be, right?
These
Not
companies.
everybody is like has the deep pocket like Walmart to do what they did with phone pay, right?
Yes.
Paying 8,000 crore upfront tax is a big deal, right? Can everybody do it? I have my own doubt.
Right. Okay. And so you said about 65% revenue is US. The remaining 35 is like across the world.
25 is India.
Okay.
And 10% is the rest of the world.
Okay. So what's your growth path to? You want to hit 1,200 crores. What's the path to reach there? Like
it's all organic. I think you can easily hit that. Even if you're growing at 30% year over year, it's from 700 to 30% into 3 years is going to be a 14 to 1,500 crore business.
Wow, amazing. And it's going to be in the same geographies, or do you want to open new markets? Or
no, I think we don't want to open it. We don't want to open a lot of geography. I think US and India both are capable enough to give that kind of revenue. Even US alone is a pretty big market, right? So I think adding geography adds to complexity. But having said that, we are seeing a lot of interest in Middle East as a market because most of the Middle East governments are spending big time on skilling their citizens. They want to diversify their dependence on cloud. So the good news is that we are already part of many of those initiatives by some of these large governments. So we'll continue to be focused on that as a market. And opportunistically, it's an online platform. We have traffic and learners from all across the world. So we keep getting a lot of inbound. So I'll say that commercial business, which is working with the enterprise companies, government, will do wherever we get opportunities. But primary focus is going to be number one US market followed by India market.
How much of your business is B2C and how much is B2B?
Right now, my B2C business is almost 85% of 85 to 90% of business is B2C. 10% is B2B.
Okay. And do you see it's remaining the same? This split?
See, ideally for us to hit our profitability goal, our B2B business should be at least 30%. So that's what we are aiming at. How can the business become 30%?
And this would be like, say, software companies, tech startups, training their
all kinds of companies, like banks have large teams. So we don't do only technology trading, right? We have data, we have cyber security, we have project management, we have Six Sigma. So we look at ourselves as a digital skilling, right? You need skills required to be successful in digital economy. Every company is a digital company today. So if you want to become a digital company, you need to understand all different aspects of digital and we help them achieve that.
And you would largely be competing with a Great Learning and Upgrad, I'm guessing. Like those would be the.
So Great Learning and Upgrad both are Indian players, so their business. So the Upgrad is fully India business. 95% of their business is India. Okay. India is only 25% of our business, right? Great Learning has some outside India business, but not Upgrad.
Okay. But Great Learning would be like or who else are you competing with? Like in the US?
See, in US as a market, there are a lot of smaller players that we compete with, I'll say. But if you look at from the end user perspective, we are even competing with Coursera, because if the person is looking to do a program, sure, he or she is considering Coursera, Udemy, Simplilearn, all kinds of play, right?
But for cohort-based, Coursera is not cohort-based, right? That's
yeah. So I think cohort-based, I don't think even Great Learning is cohort-based, frankly. They also are mostly video learning plus. They're not true cohort style the way Simplilearn does. True cohort style is mostly small players.
Okay. Understood. Because it's harder to scale that. You need high quality trainers for that. And
plus it requires the entire technology infrastructure to like plan and see who is joining which class and so on. So that's what we have built over a period of time as a competency.
How did you build the team? What is the way in which you think about organization building? Do you have advice?
From the team, Simplilearn, one of the things that you will see on LinkedIn is that most people who move out of Simplilearn, they write ex-Simplilearn on their title.
Oh, wow.
So we have focused a lot in terms of building team. And fortunately, we also had a very strong track record of hiring and retaining very, very strong talent. And that has happened because we always believe that if you hire people, you need to give them their space and let them build their own character and let them build their own team, as long as everybody is following certain core principles that we believe in. So Simplilearn, we have 4 core principles that we are running our organization in a very entrepreneurial manner. So entrepreneurship is a core value. Data driven is a core value, that all decision has to be data driven, not because of hierarchy that I am saying so everybody should do it. You should do it only when the data supports it. Teamwork is very important. If you are a great individual contributor, but you are not a very good team player, we don't want you as part of the team. And fourth is transparency. The good, bad, or ugly, transparently communicate from top to bottom. So as long as you are aligning to this four core principles, you pretty much run the org the way you want to run. So it's good. Like for example, Kashyap joined me in 2013. Very, very strong. He was an entrepreneur. He built one of the first few e-commerce platform in the country that is sold to staff. And then he joined me in 2013 and he's still working with Simplilearn for the last 10 years now. He's a co-founder also, IT and IM background, all kinds of tick mark to do. He could have done many other startups. He could have done many other things, but he found a great place to work. I got Anand to relocate from US to India because I wanted somebody who was an US product leader operating out of India. So he relocated from India to US, is US citizen operating out from India. So that way I've been very, very lucky to attract strong talent and also make them work. Mark is our CMO, Chief Marketing Officer. He was CMO for 6 years, 2016 to 22, then 23 he went out to start to again do a startup. Then 24 is again back, again a Stanford graduate and has been part of multiple $1 billion exits in a career, been part of Simplilearn. So since we hire very strong profile at the top, it like flows down to the bottom.
Like your immediate report is you pay a lot of attention, you invest a lot in hiring the right people, and then they further.
Because not only immediate attention, I get involved even at 2 levels down also in the hiring. So anybody who's a director above and above, I get involved and expect all my leaders also to get involved 3 levels below hiring. Because see, if you're a leader of a team, what do? You're not doing hands-on work on your own. So what do?
You're managing people.
You need to hire on managing people. So first step is that you get the right kind of talent and nurture them and make sure that they're getting the skills, they're getting the clarity, they're getting all the help, support, and in development to make them successful. Right? Recruitment team in Simplilearn is very, very, very powerful. Right? If you talk to my recruitment team, you'll appear as if you're talking to a C-level executive. Because we spend so much time with the recruitment team and making them understand a big picture on what we're hiring, why we're hiring, what are the skills and traits that we are looking at in the person. You can pretty much engage like a CXO with some of our top recruiters.
Wow.
So that again has happened by I spend a lot of time with HR. I also expect all my direct reports to spend a lot of time with HR in terms of team motivation, giving them a picture and whatnot, right? We didn't lose a lot of people during this whole EdTech hype when some of the competitors had crazy amount of money. Many of our team members were offered 2x to 3x of the salary. Many of them we didn't lose, but we lost some. I'm sure the people who lost, they left us at that point of time. They're not very happy about leaving because they might have got higher cash component, but I don't think that the overall profile wise, it was a good decision for them to move. But yes, we take pride in what the team that we built and we'll continue to focus on building a team. That's like really, I'll say that I spend as much as 50% of my time on team.
You must have built some frameworks around hiring, what you look for in a candidate. What are those? How do you form an opinion?
Like for example, see, first of all, if I'm looking for somebody for a role and I see that the person is jumping from one company to another company every year, whoever he or she is, I don't want to even go engage in a discussion. So I need to see to make a good contribution in an organization, you need to spend some time to understand culture, context, and then we start delivering. I see a lot of people, they claim big things by working 8 months, 9 months, 1.5 years in different companies. And they have always a reason or other to say why I left this company, why I went to another company. For me, it's a strict no. A lot of people will say, okay, you are judging without understanding the context. I'm judging. This is my business. I decide how I want to run my business. If you have a different view, build your own business and work for another company who doesn't think the way I think. So I'm perfectly fine. Right? My business, I decide how I run my business. Right? So that's a strict no. And then I look at that person achievement on those roles. That okay, what are 1 or 2 things that you really achieved? Don't talk to me about a lot of different things that you achieved. Just talk to me about 1 or 2 things that where you really made a difference and why you think that 1 or 2 things was a really a big achievement in your own experience. There's a second thing that I look at. Another thing that I generally look at is, and I ask them,
how do you judge their answer? Like if someone gives you an answer, this was my achievement, what's the lens with which you evaluate?
I look at what business that particular company was and why do you think this particular achievement was critical to the company's success and so on. Obviously, it is like a lot of nuances, but if somebody can very clearly articulate that this was my company vision, this was the goal that they wanted to achieve, and this is how I did it, that contributed to that vision, right? So you can get a good sense of that, right?
Okay.
Another
If
thing
they're
that,
able to
that we
link
always
their
ask,
work with big picture, basically.
yeah, company vision, because when I'm hiring at senior people, at least they should have that linking clear in their head, right? Sometimes also try to understand that, okay, their company versus their competitor, can they clearly articulate how was their company's strategy, or is the execution different than the competition? How, where was the competition playing strongly compared to them, and so on, to understand whether they were only inward focus, or they also had a good sense of what was happening in and around the business. Another thing that I at least check very, very closely, and we ask a lot of question is on, if somebody is considering a role at Simplilearn, and the same person gets a role at, let's say, another company, let's say Flipkart, as an example, very successful company in our technology space. Why would they select Simplilearn and not Flipkart? Like, is there a particular reason? Do you like company? Do you like the domain? Do you like the work? Why would you consider that? That's also a very important part of the consideration, because for us, like, mission alignment is also important. See, there are not many businesses where you can work and make an impact at the same time. Education, healthcare, government, these are sectors where while you're working, you are also making an impact in someone else's life, right? So that impact angle is also important, that you should like working in this particular domain. Like in 2021, a lot of people wanted to work in Edtech because Edtech was in news. If that is the reason why you want to join, definitely this is not a great place to be. And we get a lot of reference, because people who have come to Simplilearn, they have stuck for years and years. Like, look at some companies historically have done a great job. Like, for example, look at banks. People who join banks, they work for 20 years.
Yes.
It's not only JP Morgan people work for 20 years. Look at even HSBC and ICICI Bank also people have done, because process, system, clarity, everything is also clear. So we always got inspired by those institutions. For that matter, look at Infosys, Wipro, TCS, Cognizant. These companies have not got built by chance. There are others also who started at the same time that this company started. They ended up becoming a 50 million, $100 million kind of services business in the same period of time. These companies become multi-billion dollar business. Why? The difference was people. They hired great people, they gave them a space, and people did surprise them with like with producing like one after the other milestone in terms of result. So that's what we really aim at, right? That how do we become an institution where people love working and they think about it in long term. That, okay, this is a place that I retire. Like recently, I had a very senior person. His question was that, okay, why your retirement age is only 60? What if I want to work after 60? We like those kind of answers if you're thinking of working for a real long term.
Wow, amazing. How did you learn to delegate? Because, it's not something which comes naturally to learn to trust other people and delegate and let go and give them space. As a founder, you always have more context, more information, and you're always going to be better at decision making. Then how do you let go of decision?
So actually, Akshay, I don't agree that as a founder, you're always going to be better at decision. See, a lot of founders, including me, work on a lot of gut feeling and instinct, which is not necessarily always going to help you make the right decision. Whereas people who are like professionals and they have only one job, which is their current job, they look at all aspects of a problem and then they make the right decision by looking at the data. I don't think I have ever have patience of some of my colleagues who go so deep to analyze all aspects and make decisions. Most of my decisions are always gut feeling and at a very superficial level, thinking that, okay, correlating and working because I want to just move on to something else, right? So I think that's why we've always focused on delegating. And plus, if you hire senior people, if you trust them, I don't think delegating is so easy, right? So it's so difficult in a sense.
How do you decide?
Like, for example, I have not signed a Simplilearn check ever since 2013.
Wow, amazing.
So we always had that belief that, okay, if there's always a clear finance head, they will take care of it, right? And there is auditors to make sure that finance is in good shape and so on. So so it starts from the high level, right? I always delegated full authority to my team members. They have delegated further to their team members. So that's part of the culture, right? We trust people. Like that's also our in entrepreneurship as a core value, that it's okay to make mistake, but it's not okay to make same mistake again and again. So we call this out in our that training session that we have, the onboarding that we do for everybody who joins Simply.
Okay. How do you decide what decisions you will make and what decisions you will delegate?
I think I am making very few decisions is what I can say. And that also, when I make those decisions, we try to always take everybody on board. So finally, I spend a lot of time scanning the market, that which direction the market is going, who is doing better, where are we doing better, where is competition doing better, what I hear from different industry reports, what do I see or what happening on the LinkedIn. So a lot of those kind of things is what I'm doing. That where are opportunities that we are not in, and is there any play for us to get into those areas. So mostly doing some of those newer stuff, finding newer opportunity for growth, newer go to market, newer product lines is what I'm spending more time on.
Mm.
New people that I can talk to, who gives me, who or she gives me a new insight that I'm not aware. So most of my work time goes there. Whereas for day-to-day business, incremental improvement is all mostly done by our team.
Mm. Okay. How do you make sure that you are still adding value to Simplilearn? How do you keep yourself sharp and be
I
the
think
best
spending more
version?
time in the market. I'm a very good networker. By nature, I'm a very people person. So I always try to see how many new people that I'm always getting exposed to, somebody that I don't know, and learn a different perspective from that particular person. Because if any new environment that you go, any new set of people that you meet, you end up getting a very different perspective that you don't have. So that has been my way of always keeping me updated. And those people are not necessarily from the same industry. They are also from the different industry, because you can always draw a lot of parallels.
Okay. Understood. So essentially, you're the one who's helping grow the organization through.
I'll not say I'm the only person who's helping grow. I'm sure all leaders are also contributing. But yes, I spend a lot of time scanning the market, being in the market, talking to different players, getting new perspective, sharing with the team, challenging them, saying that why are you doing this, why are you not doing that, and so on. And in the end, we have always been a very, I will say, open to challenge. Like for example, I was based in Bangalore for the longest point of time, and staying in India is a very different lifestyle. We had so much of support at home. Like for example, I used to have to live in help staying with us full time in our outhouse. We had people coming and going from there to nobody in US. Right? We decided to make this decision, and we pretty much we the moment we made this decision to coming here in US was all done in 30 days, right? From applying visa to finding where you're going to move on, all 30 days. So that was also for us to challenge ourselves, that if our bigger business is US, and that's where we see growth also, what am I doing sitting in Bangalore?
So my last question to you, what's your next adventure? Once Simplilearn has an IPO, and you would probably, I'm guessing, be looking for your next adventure.
I think maybe that is the time to think about and plan. Right now, there's just one goal, that how do we create a big outcome with Simplilearn. That's the only goal that I'm right now focused on. Once we get to that, then we'll figure it out what next to do, right? I think the world has so many good avenues, opportunity to contribute, right? So I'm not somebody who plans two step at a time, right? I want to just very, very focus on one single goal. Once we achieve that goal, of course, we'll think about what more can be done. But yeah, so running Simplilearn is a great experience, because I always feel that I'm adding value by being instrumental to someone else's career success. Career success leads to a better life leads to a better community. So it has a lot of multiplier impact, right? So I love doing what I'm doing. But yes, of course, this is not the only thing that I'll do in life. So for sure, there will be a next chapter. But I think right time to talk about that chapter is when this chapter comes to that logical end, right?